The missile from space Israel used to kill Khamenei. How Israel's Blue Sparrow missile struck Iran. How does the Blue Sparrow travel through space? How did Blue Sparrow give birth to one of the world's deadliest missiles? Here's how the Blue Sparrow missiles operate.
Well, every day as the war escalates, a new revelation or theory emerges. Each one attempts to explain how the United States and Israel managed to carry out one of the most dramatic and controversial airstrikes in modern military history, the killing of Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. Hello and welcome. You're watching the NewsX Explained. My name is Vineet Malhotra, and as the aggression has now completed a week, attention is increasingly turning towards the technology and intelligence that may have made this strike possible. Amongst the many reports circulating in defense circles is the mention of a system known as the Blue Sparrow missile. Some reports have even described it as a missile from space. But what exactly is the Blue Sparrow? How does it work, and why is it suddenly at the center of discussions surrounding this high-profile operation? To understand, we first need to look at what the Blue Sparrow was originally designed to do. While the Blue Sparrow is part of a family of 3 air-launched ballistic target missiles, alongside it are 2 other systems known as the Black Sparrow missile and the Silver Sparrow missile. Interestingly, these missiles were not originally designed as weapons meant for combat. Instead, they were developed as target missiles used to test Israel's missile defense technologies. The Sparrow family was created to support Israel's long-range defense shield, the Arrow missile defense system. This system is designed to detect and destroy incoming ballistic missiles before they can strike Israeli territory. To put it simply, the Sparrow missiles functioned as simulated threats. They were fired into the sky so that Arrow system could practice detecting and intercepting ballistic missiles in real time. Ballistic missiles follow a very distinct flight pattern. Unlike cruise missiles that travel closer to the ground, ballistic missiles are powered by rockets that propel them steeply upward into the sky. Once they reach a certain altitude, the engines shut down and gravity takes over. From that point, the missile behaves much like a ball thrown high into the air. It rises sharply, reaches the highest point of its trajectory, and then falls back towards its target at extremely high speed. According to reports, the Blue Sparrow has a range of roughly 2,000 kilometers, which is about 1,240 miles. During its flight, it climbs to the upper edge of Earth's atmosphere before beginning its rapid descent towards the target. Its length is 6.51 meters and weighs about 1,900 kilograms. Well, because of this flight path, some analysts describe it as a missile from space. Even though technically it does not remain in space, it briefly touches the edge of the atmosphere before returning towards the ground. During the tests of the Israeli Arrow missile defense system, a fighter jet would release the missile at high altitude. The missile would then replicate the flight characteristics of ballistic missiles that Israel might face from hostile actors. In fact, the Blue Sparrow was designed specifically to imitate missiles such as the Shahab 3 missile and even older Soviet-era systems like the Scud missile. By simulating these threats, Israel's missile defense network could test whether it was capable of intercepting real attacks. Over time, however, analysts say that the technology behind these test missiles evolved significantly. Blue Sparrow runs on a single-stage solid rocket propellant that provides the thrust required to push it rapidly into the upper layers of the atmosphere. For navigation, the missile relies on a dual guidance system. It combines GPS guidance with something known as an inertial navigation system. An inertial navigation system functions like an internal navigation mechanism. It tracks the missile's movement using sensors that monitor acceleration and direction. This allows the missile to continue traveling accurately towards its target even if external signals like GPS are disrupted or jammed. But its real effectiveness lies not just in its size or propulsion, but in the way it approaches its target. And after being released from a fighter aircraft, the missile ignites and shoots steeply upward towards the layers of the atmosphere. and at the peak of its trajectory, a smaller section at the front separates from the main body. This front section is known as the re-entry vehicle. Once separated, the re-entry vehicle begins a near vertical descent towards the target. Small thrusters help it adjust its direction as it falls, ensuring that it remains locked onto the intended objective. The steep descent is what makes such systems extremely difficult to intercept. Most air defense radars are designed to monitor the horizon for incoming threats. They look for objects approaching from the side, moving towards their targets at an angle. But a missile dropping almost straight down from above presents a completely different challenge. By the time such a weapon appears on radar, the window to intercept it is extremely small. This is one of the reasons why systems based on ballistic trajectories remain so dangerous in modern warfare. Such systems allow militaries to launch attacks from far outside the immediate battlefield. Israeli defense manufacturer Rafael Advanced Defense Systems now have adapted Blue Sparrow's technology to develop a fully operational combat missile known as the ROX missile. Unlike the Sparrow missiles, which were designed mainly as targets, the ROX missile was built as a precision strike weapon. It can be launched from long distances and still hit its target with remarkable accuracy. Even in environments where GPS signals are being jammed, the missile can rely on its internal navigation systems to stay on course. The system is capable of striking targets on the surface as well as installations buried underground. It can operate in any weather conditions and can be used both during the day and at night. Reports suggest that the missile can carry a warhead weighing up to 500 kilograms and can land within roughly 3 meters of its intended target. In a sense, analysts say the Blue Sparrow represented the early technological concept, while systems like ROX became the fully operational version of that concept. This technological evolution is now being discussed in connection with the strike that reportedly eliminated Iran's supreme leader. According to Israeli officials, the operation resulted in the deaths of more than 40 senior Iranian leaders. Among them was Mohammad Pakpour, the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Reports indicate that Israeli fighter aircraft, including the F-15 fighter jet, were deployed early in the morning during the operation. The aircraft reportedly took off and later launched multiple long-range missiles towards a compound associated with Khamenei in Tehran. According to several reports, nearly 30 missiles were fired during the strike, with some analysts suggesting that systems derived from Blue Sparrow technology may have been used. The compound that was targeted reportedly hosted a meeting of senior Iranian political and military leaders at the time of the attack. But the strike was not simply about weapons technology. Intelligence played a crucial role. Israel's intelligence agency Mossad reportedly monitored activity around the compound on Pasture Street in capital Tehran. Security personnel movements, bodyguard routines, and vehicle patterns were carefully tracked. Surveillance cameras in the area helped analysts determine when large numbers of senior officials had gathered inside the compound. According to reports, communication networks in the area were also disrupted during the operation. Several mobile phone towers around the compound were reportedly disabled to prevent security teams from receiving warnings. The events of the past week show how dramatically warfare has changed. It is no longer only about armies confronting each other on the battlefield. Today, the decisive moment may come from hundreds of kilometers away, from a missile launched high above the clouds, guided by intelligence gathered months in advance. And sometimes that single moment can alter the balance of power across an entire region.
The missile from space Israel used to kill Khamenei. How Israel's Blue Sparrow missile struck Iran. How does the Blue Sparrow travel through space? How did Blue Sparrow give birth to one of the world's deadliest missiles? Here's how the Blue Sparrow missiles operate.